sometimes I'm flattered when I hear you, Mr. McKenna, say that the Downtown Liverpool in Business concept grew out of the McKenna group, which is something that I did in Manchester. Now, that was just really a group of artisans in Manchester complaining about their city council. I get the feeling that Downtown Liverpool in Business identified a deeper need in Liverpool.
I think we started off that informally. Just a group of guys came together for a pint every month, usually having a bit of a moan about the lack of progress that we perceived from the City Council and the other agencies that govern Liverpool. We formalised ourselves and established Downtown Liverpool in Business 12 months ago. The support we have now is phenomenal. We've over 300 members, and the principal thing that we still do now, but probably more effectively, is political lobbying on behalf of that private sector group.
But is it still a talking shop? Is it still a place where you moan?
We hope not. I think the difference between where we were 12 months ago and where we are now is firstly the things that our members are getting or wanting to get on the agenda are being discussed within the higher echelons of the governing bodies of Liverpool, and that's very important. I think the next step, though, is to say, right, we've made a noise, we've come up with some things that we think the City Council and other people need to be getting on and delivering. Now, what can we do to help them achieve that? And I think we're at that stage of our development now where we're confident enough to go in, have those discussions and actually push that agenda forward.
I know you're all passionate. I mean, there's no one as passionate about a city as its business people in many ways. Are you getting that message through to the politicians? That's the final question, isn't it? Are you getting through to them?
We hope so. I think the proof of the pudding will be over the next 12 months whether the politicians actually open the doors and let us in to actually see them face to face and say, these are the things we think should be happening in the city. If they're not happening, why aren't they? And there may need to be a very healthy debate before we can all agree on a common agenda, but to get that agreement will take this city significantly forward, and that's where we need to get.
I mean, I'm now talking to Frank McKenna of the Downtown Liverpool Business Group, a businessman. And I'm not quite sure whether you're a poacher turned gamekeeper or a gamekeeper turned poacher, but once upon a time, and a wonderful time it was, you were a politician. How do you find the difference between being a politician and now being a businessman trying to influence politicians?
Well, it's an interesting time to be looking at it from the other side of the fence.
Well, it's an interesting time in Liverpool with 2008 around the corner.
Absolutely. I don't think there could be a better time to be involved in many respects. But I hope that, given my experience for those 12 years in politics, that actually gives me an advantage to be able to see things from the City Council's side of the fence. But nevertheless, I understand and appreciate the frustrations that the business sector sees in terms of the lack of progress and the lack of development that appears to be the case in some of the things that are happening in Liverpool. You know, we don't want to sound too negative because 5 years ago, you and I couldn't have had this conversation.
True.
Liverpool was dead and buried, going nowhere fast. So the renaissance of the city has to be recognised and acknowledged. What we're saying, though, is that we can actually go a lot quicker. We can accelerate the process if we get the private sector organisations on board. That's not happening at the moment as well as it should be.
Do you not occasionally want to go back into politics and shake the city by the neck?
Well, people keep saying, you know, this is all to do with Frank McKenna wanting to be the elected mayor. As far as I know, no such position exists. What I've always been in favour of for many years, and you will know this to be a fact, is that big cities such as Manchester and Liverpool actually are better served when you have a single organisation, a single personality, responsible and accountable for the decisions that are taken. What we have in Liverpool at the moment is 99 different agencies and everybody pointing the finger of blame when things go wrong or things don't happen. So what I'd say to you is absolutely in favour of the principle of an elected mayor. Whether I would want that particular role will much depend on what's happening at the time. That could be 2, 3, 4 years away. I can't predict the future. But if that position was available, I may be interested, but I certainly wouldn't go any further than that.
But right now, DLIB is the best route for kicking this city into the 21st century, which it's meant to be in, but obviously we're all concerned about, even Manx down the road are worried about 2008 for you.
I think we're a vehicle that can help progress the city with the help of those private sector investors and developers whose best interest is served if this city is successful. There's no point for us in having a project that simply continues to knock and despair about Liverpool. The guys that we have in downtown Liverpool in business have invested, have risked money in the city and want to see the city succeed. And from our point of view, that's where we want to take Liverpool. Hopefully we can bring the politicians along with us.
And if not, we'll throw them in the Mersey. And by the way, the sounds you're hearing off camera, that's the sound of seagulls. Some people think it's David Henshaw being strangled, but it's not. Okay, fine.